Because of the tragedy that you guys have had to feel. I know that we will never know, and that's the worst part about it, is that we will never know. But I just hope that you guys will be able to forgive that I will never be able to say that this actually happened, that I intentionally crossed the center line wanting to take 3 lives from all of you. I'm not saying that it doesn't take time, but I think that the chance needs to be made because I haven't had the chance to be able to speak with you guys. For you guys to be able to forgive me, or to be able to forgive the situation, and to move past it, and to make it a learning experience for everyone, and to change it into something that it may not have meant, if that made sense. I mean, that's all.
It's not what Erin's family had hoped to hear. Prosecutor Ed Corrigan offers Justine one last chance.
I understand why you weren't allowed to contact the families, and I understand why you didn't present testimony at trial. But what they've wanted to hear from you for a long, long time also is I'm sorry. Can you tell them that?
I'm sorry for your loss, but I cannot. I don't know what you're meaning by you want me to say that I'm sorry.
Okay. I don't have any other questions, Your Honor. Thank you.
And with that, Justine was sentenced to 2 consecutive 30-year terms with 15 years suspended for the negligent homicides of pregnant Erin Thompson and her 13-year-old boy Caden Odell, who will all be forever missed. Shortly after Justine Winter went off to become the youngest inmate in the women's prison, Battle and Stuffed were out, no longer representing the now 18-year-old who was ready to finally speak for herself. Out with her old defense team also meant out with that civil suit, which was dismissed the day after she was convicted. Randy Winter would say when interviewed that the intent of the litigation had been misconstrued from the get-go. Its purpose was to secure possible future payments from insurance policies of the estate, not to create a hostile environment within his own community or to blame the victim. He admitted the idea may have been both ill-conceived and poorly timed. With Battle and Stuff sacked, Justine felt able to speak for the first time. Much hype surrounded this interview, where the expectations for an apology were at an all-time high. But in reality, it's a letdown. The link is in my show notes, but the most interesting bits went down like this. Something happened. You swerved across and hit the other car. Does that sound about right? Justine: yeah. It was probably you that caused the accident. Is that fair to say? Justine: mm-hmm. And if you say it's probably you that caused the accident, are you able to say, yeah, if I did it, and I probably did cause it, I just feel horrible about that, and I take responsibility for that? Justine: mm-hmm. Is it possible for you to say that? Justine: yeah, if I knew, then I would take responsibility for it, If it was me, I take complete, utter responsibility for it. And I do. Justine was being housed at Montana Women's Prison in Billings, and on August 19, 2014, after being there almost 3.5 years, she had her first parole interview. No members of Erin and Caden's family were there, although some had sent statements in to the Board of Pardons and Parole expressing their feelings that Justine had yet to be incarcerated long enough. Justine herself emotionally pleaded with the board, letting them know that if her victims' family members were present, she would enthusiastically look at them and deliver the heartfelt apology she now understands they've always deserved. Parole was denied, but Justine was allowed to apply to an inmate work program. She was transferred to Passage's Women's Pre-Release Center as a regular inmate for her first 6 months there. For the following 6 months, Justine participated in the inmate employment program, securing work in the community of Billings under constant supervision. Justine took part in therapy groups and other treatments as required and was reported to have been a model participant. Director at Passage's Jan Beggar described her not having been a management problem at all and fulfilled all duties and responsibilities desired of her. Justine Winter was granted parole on September 21, 2015, after serving 4 years of her 15-year sentences. She was released on November 20, 2015, under supervision of the Probations and Parole Board for the next 20 years, on parole until January 20, 2026, then on probation until 2041. If at any time she violates the terms of her release, she could be returned to prison to complete the remainder of her 30-year sentences. During my research, I came across articles detailing the violent death of Justine's older brother, Kyle Winter, who had left college back in 2009 to help his family following the car crash. Kyle, at 22 years old, was working on an oil rig in the Bakken Formation in North Dakota when he was struck in the chest by some heavy equipment on January 31, 2013. Heller Casing, Kyle's employer, as well as the company responsible for the equipment, was cited for 2 different safety violations and was fined $14,000 by OSHA that summer. In March of 2014, Justine and Kyle's father, Randy Winter, filed suit against Pioneer Drilling Services Limited of San Antonio, Texas, along with Whiting Petroleum Corporation of Denver, Colorado. Heller Casing was not named due to a state law making employers who carry workers' compensation insurance exempt from being sued for negligence. The suit purports that Pioneer Drilling had appropriate equipment on site, but for whatever reason, did not allow Heller Casing to utilize it that day, and that the use of improper equipment led to Kyle's death. Thank you, as always, to my lovely listeners. I appreciate you coming to hear my stories. Don't forget to check out The State of Logic on iTunes and social media at The State of Logic for when you need a break from true crime. They deserve it and have been wonderful sponsors. As always, Murders Minors is mixed, edited, and mastered by the professionals at Resonate Recordings. When you're ready for your first episode free, they'll be waiting at resonaterecordings.com. Come back next time to hear about Jordan Brown and how he chose to deal with changes in his family.